Watch out, it's maximum exposure. We got people going through hell and coming out the other side. Yeah, if they're lucky. A news cameraman gets in some target practice. Except he's the target. People are trapped in a burning building. Water everywhere. And dude, where's my car? Explosions rock a honeymoon in Jerusalem. Whoa. A tanker breaks apart and catches fire. Time for another oil company to say, whoops. Rescuers search for a man trapped for over 50 hours under rubble. There's only one way out for Indians stuck in a fire. A rickety bridge. We'll show you the terrible end to a hijacked flight. Your worst nightmares are coming true on Hell on Earth. Fire in the hole! Hell is being trapped in a fire. This here's a really bad one in the Paxton Hotel in Chicago. It takes over 50 minutes before the fire department gets the call. There's more than 100 people trapped inside. Firefighter Jim Franzen arrives at the worst fire he's ever seen.
Well, when we first pulled up, we had nothing but smoke coming out of the top 3 floors. And in every window, we had arms and legs hanging out. There was people hanging out of every window screaming for help.
Fire Chief Ray Hoff knows it's going to be a rough night.
I thought we were going to lose more people than we saved.
Hoff has just seconds to make terrible choices. Who shall live and who shall die?
I had my driver go with the bucket to the one side of the 4th floor to get people who were unconscious out and had fallen back in the window. I kind of wrote them off to a degree. And then the people on the 3rd floor were where we threw our first ground ladders. The reason being is they were in the most danger, and if they jumped, they could die. And the people on the 2nd floor, we waited a while to get them ground ladders because they could jump, break a leg, and still survive. Those kind of decisions are hard to make because everybody looking out their windows looking you right in the eye. That's the tough part of that. You're in a way, you're playing God.
Cameraman Ken Herslich captures the whole nightmare.
And here this little guy is up on this thing shaking. And they grab him, and they just picked him up like a bird because he was so thin and light. And they brought him down, and that was really something. By that time, I just about had enough. I mean, I've never seen anything like this before. There was also a woman that kept screaming. She was on the ground. I later learned that she was blind. She kept screaming, the fire's burning me. And to this day, that bothers me.
Security bars and mesh windows make it harder for the firefighters to get to the trapped victims.
And the firemen were kind of pleading with them, you're next, don't you jump.
We had people who jumped that shouldn't have jumped, and that upset me because that was a waste. And we had people who should have jumped and didn't and died.
And after a time, the screaming just died down. As the time wore on, some of the screaming got softer and softer, so you knew we weren't getting everyone.
Over 90 people make it out alive, but 23 people don't.
I can live with that now. I'm at peace with that.
It's hell on earth for the victims, and the rescuers too.
But even when I drive by it, I look at that building and that screaming comes back.
We've seen fire and we've seen rain. This here's Belo Horizonte, Brazil. After just 40 minutes of rain, the town's drainage system can't handle all the water. Folks get trapped in the middle of the street. Rescuers pull them to safety.
I thought we were going to die. I started to scream. I saw the people around and couldn't help but wish we could just get out.
The rain won't let up. Pretty soon the animals are going to be going 2 by 2. bus is still driving okay. Yet another good reason to take public transportation. People try to save their cars, but the current's too strong. Finally, the rain ends. The streets are clogged with mud and ruined cars.
I guess God will take my car now.
Yep. Her car's going to the great junkyard in the sky. Well, unless it was bad. And it goes to car hell. You know, that'd be L.A. Kabul, Afghanistan. Home to some seriously nasty dudes. Muslim guerrillas. It's the kind of place you don't want to be unless you're an adrenaline junkie like Jeff Chagrin. He's a British news cameraman. His cab pulls up to a checkpoint. The driver explains to the gun-toting dude that Jeff's a journalist. Well, apparently them's fighting words. They open up on the cab. Jeff's under fire and he keeps rolling. How cool is that? Somehow he makes it out of the cab. He turns the camera around and gives a report. Dude is tough.
Right. The taxi I was just in has been hit by machine gun fire. I couldn't get out because the doors, I couldn't get out because the doors blocked. Fire going everywhere. Got no idea what's going on. I don't know why my taxi was hit, because they said I was a journalist.
He's on foot and he's still under fire.
Son of a I've got absolutely no idea what's going on. There's RPGs firing on either side. We're pinned down on machine gun fire in a small little garage here. I think I've got a piece of shrapnel in my face, by the nose here.
Jeff and his driver finally get back in the cab and get the hell out of there.
The seat I was sitting in, I was taking cover with machine gun and bullets actually went through the seat and just missed my head. We're now making our way very, very carefully away from the fighting to a hospital to take bits and pieces out of my face.
They gotta pass through another checkpoint.
Journalist! Yeah, hospital. Hospital, okay, I'm alright. Never better. I'm English, I'm tough, I'm wonderful. You've got to be very careful with these guys, because the ones who started shooting at me look friendly enough, and then pow!
They make it through the gauntlet safely.
I got half a bullet in my knee. I got a whole bullet in my back, which was stopped by my bulletproof vest. And I got half a round in my face. Now, if the rounds had not been slowed down by the cab, I would have been killed.
Them English are cool dudes. Jeff's stiff upper lip stops the bullet.
And then they took a bullet, half a bullet out of my face. And they gave it to me, and I sort of looked at it. And there was a Mujahideen guy there, and he said, "You put that round your neck. You wear it, and you will never ever be shot again." And I've worn it ever since that happened, and I haven't been touched, not once, ever since. I've been incredibly lucky.
Jeff knows he ain't going to hell, because he got a face full of it right here on Earth. You're hanging with Max X. Hell on Earth can happen anytime, anywhere. But it seems to sprout up an awful lot in the Middle East. This is Jerusalem. She's on her honeymoon. Her husband's videotaping her on a perfect day. They pick out this cafe on Ben Yuta Street for lunch. But before they sit down, the groom gets a weird feeling of impending doom.
I had a butterfly in my stomach, feelings that something is not good around. And I found an excuse to get out from this restaurant, but that is too expensive.
Instead, they go to a fast food place. And that's when they hear two loud booms. They run outside and the third bomb goes off.
what's going on, but we got a bomb over here.
The husband leaves his wife safely behind and runs to the scene.
We got a shot over here. It's real life. Unbelievable. Wow. Wow. Look at this. Unbelievable.
He rounds the corner to find the cafe where they were gonna have lunch. It's destroyed.
Unbelievable.
3 suicide bombers blew themselves up with nail-studded bombs.
Wow, blood.
Besides the bombers, 5 innocent people died. 192 were injured. Some of them are cared for at the scene.
It's like normal life is going on, and then within a split second, that all changes for you. It's a scary feeling. It's like you have no control.
You know, it's a good thing the husband followed his hunch that something bad's gonna happen. But hey, it's the Middle East, where something bad happens a lot. A forest fire raging in Big Lake, Alaska. Firefighters do what they can to stop it. But it just gets bigger. It heads towards a hangar and a house being built by Lee and Jennifer Booty.
This is a little close.
Whoa, it's actually getting quite warm where I'm standing.
Kind of an air show started taking place. And then this big fire retardant bomber flew overhead and dumped a bunch of red stuff in the woods.
Lee acts fast to save his new home. He bulldozes trees to create a fire break. Fire's closing in on him.
It all broke loose then. It went from an interesting deal to a flat-out emergency.
The flames seemed to be as tall as a skyscraper, and they were twice as tall as the trees.
The fire break don't work. The flames jump right over it and into the other trees.
The thing was alive. It cackled and groaned and roared.
This is not good. This is not good here. And there's the house. And here's the wind.
Lee bulldozes another fire break around the house. Are Alaska guys cool or what?
As the fire was encroaching, I took the trees out right next to the house.
From where I stood there, you couldn't see the house. It was just like... I was in a state of shock. My whole body was shaking.
The morning after, 40,000 acres of trees are history. 432 buildings are burned down.
The morning after the fire was surreal. The fire created the wind. There was no wind, and this thick smoke that hung like a blanket. These are all burned. All burned. Except the house.
The house and the hangar are spared, thanks to Lee and his trusty bulldozer.
It was really like Christmas when it was over. To have anything at all was, I just looked at things and was just so incredibly appreciative that I still had them.
I felt very lucky. I felt very, very, very fortunate to have a house and to have my family, and I am forever grateful.
You know, maybe it ain't luck. Maybe it's guts. Jennifer and Lee had to fight their way through hell to get out the other side. It's one of the worst oil disasters in history. Off the coast of northern Spain, the Greek tanker Aegean Sea runs aground. It breaks up and explodes right near the port of La Coruna. A chopper flies into the thick black smoke and rescues a sailor from the ship. Smoke fills the sky around the little village. The fire finally burns out after 20 hours. The tanker dumps 24 million gallons of oil into the ocean. Fish and wildlife along the coast are devastated. But nobody dies in the accident. Yeah, that's great, but we're thinking these oil spills happen way too Saxon is. Belfast, Northern Ireland. Joe Toner's getting married today. Yeah, but this is Belfast, where all hell's just waiting to break loose. Mortar shells hit the church parking lot. They were aiming for a British Army barracks and missed. Like Joe, many of his guests are disabled. And the blast is so powerful, it knocked some of them out of their wheelchairs. Folks are hurt by flying shrapnel and glass. Diane, the bride, is waiting to go to the church when she gets the news from her bridesmaids.
I went into hysterics and just started to cry and stuff, I was worried about Joe, wondering if he was okay and wondering about the guests and everybody that was going to be there.
Fortunately, no one is killed. And Joe and Diane decide they're going through with the wedding. They take their vows at a church close by. Their life together starts off with a bang, but we're pretty sure these two can handle it. A crowd in New Delhi, India watches a fire burn in a high-rise. 300 people are trapped inside. Firefighters are having a hard time. There isn't enough water pressure to hit the upper floors. And they don't have a tall enough ladder. Construction workers from the building across the street try to help with a crane and bucket. They set a steel rod in the window, but can't keep the bucket in place. A dude can't take it anymore. He tries to climb across the rod. He doesn't make it. The crowd screams for the trapped workers to stay where they are, because help is on the way. An army chopper starts taking people off the roof. They save a few, but have to stop because the blades are fanning the fire. The construction dudes come up with Plan B. They build a bridge out of pipe, rope, and bamboo, and swing it over to the burning building. It's rickety, but it's the only chance they have. The office workers start making their way over the bridge. Somehow it holds together. 50 people get across safe, and firefighters save 300 more. It's bad, but it could have been really bad if it weren't for them quick-thinking construction guys. We got the story of some guys who volunteer for a trip to hell. The town of Baguio in the Philippines gets hammered by a huge earthquake. 7.7 on the Richter scale. It's bad. Really bad. More than 100 people dead. 700 missing. A whole lot more injured. And 20,000 are homeless. Rescue workers from Virginia arrive wanting to help out.
You can see scenes like families outside praying, hoping that they find someone else, their family members alive in the building.
This is, or was, the Hotel Nevada. It's where a lot of people died. And there's a guy buried alive inside. His name is Maya. Philippine miners have been trying to dig him out for 40 hours. The American rescue team steps in.
The local people had felt that he was so deeply entombed that there was no chance that he was going to be rescued.
Aftershocks hit the area over and over. The building's about ready to go.
Got a significant aftershock right now. These people probably exiting the building right now.
But that doesn't stop these guys. They use a fiber optic scope to look for Maya.
Maya! That way.
Hold it! Hold it! They gotta be really quiet to hear him through the mounds of rubble.
All right.
Maya? Am I touching you? Okay, that's you?
They find him.
Put your hand out. Okay, good.
All right, there we go.
We could see his hand. And that was the big turning point for us.
Mayo, get totally flat. So put your hand up because we're going to cut with a saw.
The building's still getting rocked by aftershocks. It's super dangerous to stay inside, but these rescuers ain't going nowhere without Mayo.
after every aftershock. He'd make sure that we were still there, that we didn't leave him there.
It takes several more hours. Then they see Miles' face.
When he pushed his glasses back up on his head so he could look at us, he was so grateful to see another human being without having to be in the dark or anything like that. So, I mean, the expression on his face and him pushing his glasses up will always stick in my mind.
Medics give him an IV. The rescue guys can't get him out just yet because his left foot's stuck under a concrete beam. 2 more hours of cutting and praying, and finally they lift up the beam.
Keep your eyes closed. You're coming out, buddy.
He's free. Miles been trapped for 56 hours.
He was so grateful that he was, he wanted to shake hands with everybody and everything. And of course, at this point, the only thing we're worried about is we got to get him out before this building falls down.
They get him out in the nick of time. Soon after, the building collapses. Later, Miles comes to America to thank the rescue dudes again for saving him from his own personal hell. You're watching it all go down on maximum exposure. It's Yellowstone National Park. But 5 months of drought turned timber to tinder. Then suddenly there's a major forest fire. Strong winds push the fire through the dry forest. The smoke and burning embers rise 60,000 feet, blotting out the sun. Ain't no way firefighters can save the forest, but they can try to save Old Faithful. As flames creep closer to the little village around the geyser, folks evacuate. Planes, choppers, and thousands of firefighters go up against the blaze. Crews set off explosions to create fire breaks. No effect. The fire keeps heading towards Old Faithful. Firefighters stay until the last possible minute.
Time to go right now. Get in here!
The fire surrounds the village. Firefighters turn on sprinkler systems to cover the buildings with water and flame retardant. It's the last resort because the firefighters know they can't stop the huge fire. But rain can. After 3 days of burning through more than 1 million acres, the fire is finally out. It leaves burned out wreckage and scorched trees. But a lot of wildlife survives, and Old Faithful is still geysering. Now that there's a tornado, and it's about to lay a big herd on the small town of Stoneville, North Carolina. Pastor Trenwall starts rolling with his video camera.
It's getting very close now and scary. At the top of the hill, the sky was completely black, and you could see a very defined tornado. Oh my goodness.
Come on, that ain't what we'd say. But then again, we ain't no pastors.
I could hear the roaring that everyone says sounds like a train, and then I heard a snapping sound that began to identify like horses running on the ground.
After the tornado passes, the pastor looks over what's left of his town.
It appears the storm came right through downtown Stoneville. There are roofs that are just completely gone. It looked to me like a bomb had been dropped on downtown Stoneville immediately after the tornado. This is the main street of Stoneville. It's complete devastation. It's something like you would see in a movie theater, but it is so more real. And it absolutely took my breath away when I saw the rubble, the buildings that were laying in the street, and I couldn't hardly catch my breath for a few moments. Cars are bunched on top of each other, destroyed. Just the complete devastation of the town, it began to just make me weak. And it has been confirmed there are fatalities in the area. One would only believe that there would be. We can rebuild the buildings and the roofs can be replaced, but we are unable to replace the loss of life. This will take several months just to begin. Process, my goodness. My God, it came right through here.
There are 1,100 people in Stoneville. 25 of them are injured, and 2 people died. The tornado damages over 450 buildings. But somehow, Pastor Wall's church makes it through without a scratch. Now it's time for healing and rebuilding. Another honeymoon's gonna turn into hell. South African Dolph House is in the Comoro Islands. His bride's shooting some special honeymoon memories. They won't forget this. A Boeing 767 runs out of fuel and crashes into the Indian Ocean. Hotel guests and employees speed out to the wreckage. They grab passengers and bring them to shore. They do everything they can to save the victims. A small child is pulled out of the water. He's barely hanging on, but with their help, he survives. One of the passengers is the U.S. Consul General to India, Franklin Huddle.
We helped the Indian woman and her child next to us get her seatbelt on, and she survived and was not hurt.
Dolph's honeymoon goes from relaxing to rescuing really fast.
Everything happened so quickly, but it was about 3-4 minutes when the first boat went in, and children of 16, 17 years that went in, and they saved some lives there. So they were very brave.
The plane had been hijacked and ran out of fuel on its way to Australia. The 3 hijackers died. So do 125 passengers. But 50 people are saved by the fast-moving folks at the hotel. Max X is coming at ya. It's hell in Philadelphia. A fire in a vacant apartment building. Firefighters got it under control when the fire explodes, knocking a wall onto the firemen. Some dig themselves out, but 2 are still trapped under the rubble. They gotta dig the dudes out brick by brick. And it's slow going.
A very emotional time to have firefighters trapped. And I had this fear that we weren't going to find them in time. I heard a sound from within that pile. And the sound, I can paraphrase the words, were, "Help me, get me out of here."
They find fireman Jimmy Williamson, but where's the other guy? Then they see Denny Bonner's helmet. He's alive but unconscious. They still got to deal with the fire, and the heat's really getting to them.
The fire was just free burning. The radiant heat was coming out at us because there was no barriers, such as the wall acted as a barrier for the radiant heat. The members that were digging were getting blisters on their fingers, and their knees were heating up from kneeling on the debris.
Finally, they pry out Bonner and rush him to the hospital.
Take this guy right away, all right?
Getting Williamson out is harder. He's trapped under 2 feet of burning hot bricks. They come up with a solution. They cut him out of his uniform and slide him out. In all, it takes 20 minutes after the wall collapsed to free him.
Everybody played a part, everybody came together, and we all think about it, this could happen to me.
Bonner and Williamson recover. They go back to their jobs, where there's a good chance they'll deal with hell on earth every day. Get ready for some rough stuff. It's our Max X list. Coming in at number 3. A lake in South Korea. A ferry boat's on fire. It started in the engine room and spread. The boat don't have enough rafts or life preservers, so passengers have to jump into the freezing water. Yeah, but they're the lucky ones. There's still people trapped on the boat, and the 3 upper decks are burning fast. Some survivors have to tread water for more than 20 minutes before another ferry shows up to pull them out. But it's hard because many of them are exhausted and can't hold on to the rope. A rescue boat's trying to tow a sinking raft to shore. but the boat itself is leaking and doesn't stop for somebody flailing in the water. There's no way to put out the flames. In an hour, the 85-foot ferry is completely torched. 29 people die in the fire or in the lake, but somehow 104 people survive hell on the water. Number 2 on our Max X list is in Philadelphia. The black nationalist group called MOVE lives in this house. Neighbors complain that they're destructive and they're terrorizing the street. Cops surround the house to get MOVE to move out. They evacuate all the homes around it and take over the houses on either side. Shooting breaks out, and the gunfire goes on for an hour and a half. When the shooting stops, the cops hit the roof of the house with water cannons to try and knock out MOVE's rooftop bunker. No luck, so they try tear gas. That doesn't work either. So police come up with a really extreme idea. They drop a bomb on the roof. Fire engulfs the house, but there's no sign of the MOVE people, which include adults and kids. The police chief tells the fire department to stand down. He lets the fire burn. Now here's the problem with that thinking. The fire spreads and starts burning up the neighborhood. The fire department holds off for 90 minutes. The entire block goes up. Kermit Bostic lived on that block.
I saw this little copter come over, and all of a sudden I saw him drop this bomb. When I saw that, and I saw the flame, I said, oh my good Lord. I said, everybody's dead. I tell your wife, they were all dead and they never got a chance.
A woman and a child run out of the burning house. They're the only ones who survive. 6 adults and 5 children die. 61 homes burned to the ground. 250 people are left out on the street. And Kermit's still mad.
It could have been prevented. And I blame the police entirely for the whole thing, because they should have gone about it in a different manner. Had I been the chief of police, all I would have done was cut off the water and the gas and the light. They can't live without water and food. They'd have to come out of that house sooner or later. As simple as that.
Yeah, but it wasn't simple. Nothing like a bomb to turn a bad thing into hell on earth. And the number 1 most hellish story on our Max X list. A fuel tanker's on fire in Auckland, New Zealand. The 18-wheeler slammed into a parked car and flipped over. 9,000 gallons of gas are burning. A firefighter's working on putting out the fire when he sees something terrible. A little girl's hand waving at him from inside the fire.
My initial reaction on seeing a hand waving out through the thick smoke was immediately to be with the person to reassure them.
Officer and 3 men down at the phone tender on the double.
The firewall is 1,000 degrees. Without hesitating, Kennedy dives through it to get to the little girl. She's behind this wall of fire, trapped between the car and the tanker.
The girl was getting badly burnt. I took off my helmet and strapped it to her head and lowered the visor just to give some form of protection. While we were waiting and screaming, she looked at me through the visor of my helmet. And she said to me, if I don't make it, tell my mother I love her.
Things are getting worse. The burning gasoline flows into storm drains, causing explosions underground.
We've got drains outside blowing up. I don't want people inside. I don't know where the drains go. Inside blocks of the kid.
Firefighters clear out the shopping center across the street. They attach equipment to the car to lift it off the girl. But it's taken a long time. And time is something they don't have.
I wrapped my arms around her and just hid myself from the flames which were engulfing us both.
With flames licking at Kennedy and the girl, firefighters hoist up the car. Kennedy pulls her out.
Placing her on the stretcher with other rescuers, it was the most intensely successful moment. The least I could do was to at least give her a peck on the cheek to let her know that it was just a tender moment and that she was safe.
Then they have to take care of him.
I'm so cold, man. I'm dizzy and I just want to lay down.
I was absolutely overwhelmed. I thought that I would die, quite frankly, and I thought she would die.
The girl's out of the fire, but she ain't out of the woods. She's got burns over most of her body, and her legs, hips, and pelvis are crushed. 150 firemen work all night to put out the fire. The little girl worked 6 months to get her life back.
She sat beside me and was telling me about his daughters having horses, and that when I get out from the hospital I can go and ride the horse. He put a helmet over my head. It was really nice. Calm. It was really good what he'd done for me. And he could have put his life in a bad position too.
Kennedy keeps his promise that Shirley's going to ride, even though she lost part of her leg.
It was a very special moment because that, to me, signified the success of the rescue and the completion of a promise that I had delivered.
He's named New Zealand's Person of the Year and gets the Georgian Award.
She is now, to me, a daughter, and I to her like a dad.
Here's two people who know way too much about hell on earth. That's all we got. Max X say we're out.